Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Radnor Township School District, Wednesday, March 24th, 2021, virtual special meeting of the board to conduct a public hearing on the charter application submitted by the Valley Forge Military Charter School. I'd like to begin by calling this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get underway, I would like to just welcome everyone. We have a very large crowd here. I trust Colonel Helgeson is the gentleman in charge, and I trust that you'll introduce individual members as their attendance becomes relevant. But at this time, I'd like to start with some opening remarks, and then I will be turning a portion of the meeting over to our district solicitor, Mike Christofko. Good evening and welcome to the special hearing of the Board of School Directors for Radnor Township School District. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to conduct a public hearing on the application of the Valley Forge Military Charter School in accordance with Charter School Law, Board Policy 140, and the Sunshine Act. The hearing is being transcribed by a disinterested court stenographer at the expense of the district, is being broadcast live on YouTube, and recorded for later viewing at the Radnor Township School District TV YouTube channel. The board is tasking the administration and the solicitor with the responsibility to formulate a recommendation for board action on the charter school application based upon information from a review of the application, information received from the applicant, and information received through this public hearing. The board is also gathering information so that it may make an informed decision concerning the recommendation, which will be provided by the administration and the solicitor. I would like to make it very clear from the outset that this is not an adversarial proceeding, but rather an opportunity for the board and the administration to inquire further into the application submitted to them by Valley Forge Military Charter School, as well as for the Valley Forge Military Charter School to present their application with greater detail. We do not have an unlimited amount of time, and if we do not complete the hearing this evening, a second date will be scheduled. The board is entering the hearing today with an open mind, with a mind toward gathering information, and no decisions have been made or will be made on the application today. The hearing will begin with a brief statement by the solicitor, followed by a presentation by the Valley Forge Military Charter School, a period of public comment on the application, and conclude with comments and questions by members of the board and the administration. At this point, I would request that the board solicitor begin the hearing. Mr. Christofko?
Thank you, Ms. Stern. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, great. This hearing is being governed by board policy number 140, which states that each charter school application shall demonstrate compliance with the requirements of the charter school law. Pennsylvania Charter School Law requires applications to be submitted by November 15th. This application was timely submitted to the superintendent's office on February 22nd, 2021. The law then requires that the school district hold a public hearing within 45 days of the application submittal. The district scheduled and properly notified the applicant and the public of tonight's hearing, which is within that 45-day period. This hearing was also properly advertised pursuant to the Sunshine Act in the Delaware County Times, a local paper of general circulation. The timeline going forward, according to the charter school law, is that the district may not make any decision on the issue until after 45 days from today's date, but must issue a decision before the 75th day after today. Before the applicant begins their presentation, I'd like to make certain exhibits part of the record. Number one, the application and supporting materials submitted by the Valley Forge Military Charter School. These application documents have been numbered and they've been bait stamped as pages VFMCS 0001 to VMCS 1642. The March 8th, 2021 letter addressed to Joshua Pollock, Esquire of McKenna & Snyder LLC, counsel for Valley Forge Military Charter School, advising of the date and time of this hearing. The notice of the hearing published in the newspaper, and a copy of Board Policy 140. And with that, I turn the hearing back over to you, Ms. Stern. You're muted.
Thank you so much. Okay, with those who are present representing the Valley Forge Military Charter School, also please introduce themselves. Colonel Helgeson, I think I'll turn this over to you.
Thank you, Madam President. I've got myself, Colonel Stuart Helgeson. I'm the president of Valley Forge Military Academy in college. I have Dr. Paul Lee. Hopefully he's showing up on your screen. He is our Dean of Valley Forge Military Academy. I have Mrs. Lauren Wolchuk, our Associate Dean of Valley Forge Military Academy and head of our lower school. I have Mr. George Else, our Director of Facilities at Valley Forge Military Academy and College. And I have Mr. Eric Saul, our CFO at Valley Forge Military Academy and College.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, we would welcome for you to provide your presentation to the board, to the administration, and members of the public.
Okay. Can you, Madam President, can you share the screen with Dr. Paul Lee? Do you have it? Okay.
Yes, we will. Mr. Helgeson, Colonel Helgeson, I apologize. Yep, thank you. That's exactly what I was going to ask, to make the picture as large as possible. I will let you take things from here for now. Okay,
thank you. And good evening, board, and we really appreciate you taking the time on your busy schedules to meet with us tonight. As I said, my name is Colonel Helgeson. I'm the president of Valley Forge Military Academy and College. I'm quickly going to try and give a brief overview on the history of Valley Forge for those who might not be aware of it, and then we will dig down into our application for the charter and what we envision the Valley Forge Military Charter School to be. So Valley Forge Military Academy was formed in 1928 by a then Major Milton Baker. He founded the school. The first year it had 115 students and 14 staff. It was located in the old Devon Park Hotel. That structure burned down in 1929. The school moved to where we're currently located, which used to be St. Luke's Preparatory School, but now we are located on 1001 Eagle Road in Wayne, Pennsylvania, on 100 acres. We are an academy and a college. Our academy is all male. 7th through 12th grade is boarding and day student. It is built off a foundation of what we call the 5 cornerstones: academic excellence, character development, personal motivation, physical development, and leadership. And I'll talk more about how those are weaved into the curriculum. In 1935, then Major Baker created a Valley Forge Military Junior College, which at the time was all male, a military junior college, 2 years, that offers associate's degrees. In 2005, it became co-ed, and it currently is one of 4 military junior colleges in the United States, the only one in the Northeast that has an early commissioning program for the United States Army. Next slide. Our philosophy at Valley Forge is develop the whole person, integrating academic and military in an integrated academic and military environment, which you'll hear us call the military model. That military model prepares students to take ownership, accountability, responsibility, learning how to follow, and then learn how to lead. Those 5 cornerstones that I touched on before are weaved in everything that we do. Academic excellence, character development. We feel character still matters. We strive that in. We have an honor code at the school. Cadet won't lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate those that will. Personal motivation, which is one of the harder ones to get everyone to consistently do. But the rigor of being part of a corps of cadets and going to school teaches that personal responsibility and accountability. Physical development is again weaved in everything that we do. We feel that a cadet should be of good mind, body, and character. So physical development is part of the curriculum. And then leadership is done through our corps cadets. A student comes to Valley Forge and goes through a system where they earn the title of cadet. That's why we say you have to first learn how to lead before you can, or excuse me, you have to learn how to follow before you lead others. We do that by putting them through a system. It doesn't matter where they came from, what race, nationality, religion, how much money they have. They all start at the same place. Hence, just like the United States military does with any of their incoming recruiting classes. That body goes through a system, becomes cadets, and they become part of a corps of cadets. And that's where they first earn that title of cadet. Once they are a cadet, they can have the opportunity to take a leadership position where they will try out for it. Now they will be put in charge of other cadets and be accountable for not only themselves, but those cadets and their actions. Next slide. Next slide. We do have dual enrollment right now for our academy. Our academy cadets, many of them are able to take, since we have a junior college on campus, are able to take college courses, which has been a great opportunity for them to earn college credits while in high school. And another unique process that we have is our faculty and staff. Being a boarding school, being a private school, I like to say to our staff, we hire a lot of people who are Swiss Army knives. What do I mean by that? They do more than one thing. Our teachers coach, our coaches teach, our tactical officers will lead classes and lead trips. It takes everybody to run a school 24/7 when it's a boarding model. We have a cadet life program. We have intramurals. We have varsity sports for the academy right now. We have life skills classes that we teach the academy right now. You can go to the next slide. In all, well, hold on. In all, the school's been around since 1928. As I said, we're in our 93rd Corps of Cadets. We've been educating young men in the academy through grades 7th and 12th. We have thousands of alumni. We have very distinguished alumni. We have people who will tell you that the lessons they learned, the foundation that was taught to them, the 5 crucibles that they learned and lived at Valley Forge made them who they are today. So brings us to what we're here tonight. Why a charter school? We feel those 5 cornerstones and the military model is unique and can play a part for young people, both young men and women in grades 6 through 12 who can't receive this type of education right now because it is a private school and because the barriers to entry for some. We get many of inquiries of people who would like to send their children here. We only have so much that we can give in scholarships. So when we looked at the interest in the surrounding area, we came up with a military charter school that would be a day school. We would use the same 5 cornerstones in the military model that we've been executing for 93 years. It would be a separate school. It would have a separate staff, a separate board, but it would still have that same process where young people would come through. They would become part of something, a battalion in the Valley Forge Military Charter School. They would go through a process to become a cadet, and then they would be part of that battalion as they went to school and learn the same lessons that we've been teaching up at the academy and the college for, as I said, 93 years. The application criteria, as we've read it, and I think it was stated tonight, we feel we meet all of it. You can read it right there. I won't spend the time. This is part of the record, but this is where we feel we do meet this criteria in order to open up a school of this nature. The legislative intent on the charter, the way we read it, is this, and we again feel we meet all this criteria and will meet this criteria if given the opportunity to open up a Valley Forge Military Charter School. Our application fact sheet for your, just to see, we look at 100 students in the first year, by year 5 being up to 500 students. We do have current location and we do have space on our 100 acres, which we'll talk about later in the application. So our focus is, as I mentioned, for the Valley Forge Military Charter School, is to educate children within an academic and military environment to be fully prepared for their responsibilities as citizen leaders. They're mentally alert, sound in body, considerate of others, and possess the highest sense of duty, honor, loyalty, and courage. Our focus from middle school through high school will be a well-rounded advanced courses necessary to prepare them for secondary or college education or for the workforce. We intend to replicate the current 5 cornerstones and the military model that we presently use in the Valley Forge Military Academy as a basis of how we will build the program. And we feel the students will show growth both academically and with maturity, responsibility, and accountability if they go through this system. So the school's mission statement is to educate students within a challenging academic and structured environment so they are fully prepared for the responsibilities of citizen leaders who are mentally alert, sound in body, considerate of others, and possess the highest sense of duty, honor, loyalty, and courage. To foster the love of country, high moral standards, and strong character traits that will make all a credit to themselves, their families, their alma mater, and their country. So the school design, back up one. I'm going to now turn it over to Dr. Paul Lee, who is our current Dean of the Academy. Thank you.
Well, Madam President, let's wait till we mute. So the goal is to establish a military culture at Valley Forge Military Academy. Sorry, at the Military Charter School.
Dr. Lee, there's a background noise.
We'll work on that.
Maybe that someone else in your room needs to turn off their microphone.
So the establishment of a military culture for the Military Charter School will utilize a similar design of what Valley Forge Military Academy has. The idea is that it is not an end goal to be putting them into the military. The end goal is to create an environment that is very structured, that has measurable goals for the students to achieve in order to move to the next rank structure. It allows them to be able to compete. It allows them to be able to excel at their with their best capabilities. So they'll be part of a core of students that's within this, the school. The students will be expected to wear a uniform on a daily basis. The communication will be modeled after between students and faculty, and between the faculty and staff themselves will be modeled after appropriate military protocols, reflecting the current rank structures. Students will be expected to carry themselves with an appropriate military bearing and to stand at attention when they need to, similar to what a junior RTC program would have. And co-curricular activities, which would focus on military history and themes so as to appropriate challenge the students as they advance in the ranks. Give me a minute. So I'm going to next hand it over to Ms. Lauren Wolchuk, who will be going in through the each of the different academic goals.
Welcome, Ms. Wolchuk.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. The next section is going to focus on how the academic goals would be structured for the charter school. And each of the academic goals really touches upon one of the cornerstones. Some touch on many, but the first one is going to touch on our cornerstone of academic excellence. So the charter school will provide students with strong foundation in both English and mathematics to obtain at least 4 academic credits in their high school years to meet the requirements of the PA state standards. The progressive curriculum will be designed for each student based on his credit requirements, but as well as being able to give them some individual direction. So that's where personal motivation comes into play. If a student, needs that extra reinforcement, we would have that into play for their programming. Whereas if a student wanted to get ahead, they would be able to do that based on the direction that they choose. So how will these goals be measured? Each year, the goals will be measured through work with their guidance counselors, through course audits, and they will have a map for each student's individual success. We'll use software like IXL, which will be available to all of the students for additional practice, as well as tracking their progress and monitoring their goals at least on a 6-month basis. We'll also use testing scores through PSATs and SATs that will help us provide data for curriculum modifications, mapping out strengths and weaknesses for each of the students to meet their academic excellence goal. The second slide would focus on personal motivation, where we would provide that personal academic advancement. It'll allow students who want to advance quicker to customize their education. Conversely, students who need more support will have the chance to build upon their curriculum supports. Supports will be given through ESL students, as well as ESL curriculum modifications, aligning with those state standards. We have different students that'll come from different backgrounds, which will really give different levels of readiness. So to help all the levels of students achieve their 5 cornerstones, we will provide at least 2 supports per student. And some of the goals and some of the supports that will be measured will be a low student-teacher ratio, especially in grades 6 to 8, and we'll share those ratios later in the plan. We'll also provide differentiated instruction to include students with IEPs and 504 plans. We'll have push-in resources available through classroom age, special education teachers, as well as resource support and learning support programs. Counseling services will also be available as an additional support for those who need it for mental health services. Advancement courses will also be available for students who want to move through their curriculum at a faster pace, to include dual enrollment courses. Goal 3 in the academic goal would be under academic excellence, and this would be to have credentialed teachers to serve at the charter school. So the goal would be to have 80% of the teachers and support staff holding PA certifications in their field of expertise. For teachers who do not meet these criteria initially, a professional development plan to work towards the certification will be in place and reviewed annually to determine how to obtain those necessary credentials. How will we measure these goals? Staff files will be maintained, and members of the team will have to provide copies of the credentials, as well as create individualized professional development plans with advancement objectives that will be reviewed to outline specific timeframes to obtain these credentials. Through the charter school, we will also provide yearly professional development opportunities that align with Act 48 hours that teachers need to keep their certifications current. The final academic goal will be to prepare students for post-secondary goals that they may have. There's going to be a variety of different post-secondary goals for the students that will fall under their personal motivation. Some will want to be accepted into top-tier universities, where they will go on for successful careers like business and government or the military. Admissions could also be established to apply and be awarded RTC scholarships. For other students, they may want to secure placement in vocational schools, apprenticeships, or job placement. This can also be obtained through the transition services that we would provide. How will we measure transition goals? They will be maintained through their post-secondary transition plans. Students will meet with guidance counselors each year to track progress of activities and help them prepare for life after the charter school. It is also important for the students to be well-rounded and have non-academic goals in place. And one of the ones I'm very passionate about is developing a robust community engagement program. And this follows under character development and personal development motivation. It encourages civic responsibility, family and community involvement, and teaches the ideals of service to the students. The school will offer a minimum of 10 events per year to foster both parent involvement and community engagement for the students. Each student will be required to accumulate a minimum of 10 documented community service hours per year. And families will also be encouraged to participate along with members of the charter school community. Outcomes for this could be parent conferences, parent advisory councils, and creating a community service club that performs both off-campus and on-campus community service events, at least 2 per month. The next non-academic goal, we will have at least 75% of the student body participating in co-curricular activities that align with the cornerstone of physical activities. All students are going to be encouraged to join at least one or more athletic activity each session. Activities can include members of an official sports team, intramurals program, or in a sanctioned fitness club like judo, karate, or powerlifting. We will measure these goals through data tracking with our athletic department and coaching staff to report student participation. At the beginning of each sports team, it's very important to recruit students so they can learn about the variety of different methods and opportunities that'll be available for them. These recruitment methods can include tryouts, workout sessions, group meetings, and offer demonstrations of different activities that may be new to them, so they would encourage their participation. The third non-academic goal would be to build good leaders through a variety of different programming and training opportunities. For these, we would hopefully use positive choices to make them become student leaders. A yearly suspension rate of under 4% will result from these programs. Tiered behavioral supports that'll be outlined in the measurable goals will help to sustain their personal, behavioral, and social skills of the students. Under the measured section, all 3 of the different support structures are outlined from tier 1, which is the universal supports, to tier 2, which is secondary, and tier 3, which are the intensive supports. And the final non-academic goal is to have a strong extracurricular program. And this helps to develop the whole student. Students will participate in at least 2 of the following activities per year. Clubs can include STEM, robotics, different cultural clubs, chess, esports, drill team, and adventure club. And we'll also encourage our students to propose different clubs that they would want to see on campus. The goals will be measured through teachers and faculty members serving as their advisors of the clubs. They'll be responsible for tracking the student enrollment. Monthly calendars will also be posted to showcase and announce different events each day. Will also be used through our PowerSchool portal. Club fairs will occur to teach the students about the club offerings. And finally, students can propose those clubs that they want to add to our club programming. And I'm now going to turn it back over to Dr. Pauly.
So our educational philosophy, as we've been stating over and over, it's based upon our 5 cornerstones that we have at Valley Forge: the academic excellence, the character development, the personal motivation, the physical development, and the leadership. It's our philosophy that all of the students can be given the opportunity to have high success in our particular model system. We know that once they have been made to feel valued, respected, they do well. They find the students have the ability to understand that they are going to be given abilities to engage in challenging and meaningful work, and that they'll be supported by a unified community of not only the teachers and the staff, but each of the other students that are along with them, as well as the parents. This is a community effort in which to raise these young adults as they move through their schooling. So it's in this in mind that that the curriculum that we develop will become more rigorous as we go through the local, then the local, state and local and state levels. We include, but not limited to, additional courses and credit graduation requirements, including, again, the dual enrollment elements. I think at this point, I would like to mention that the dual enrollment that we do, that we like to strive for at Valley Forge Military Academy, and would like to mimic in this one, is that these are not high school driven dual enrollment classes. These are dual enrollment classes with colleges. A difference between each of those is how they're accredited, as well as how they transfer with the credits to the next location. I have experience in that from a previous college, and there are a lot more challenges with high school teachers teaching a dual enrollment class than a college instructor teaching a dual enrollment class. Sorry, when I'm talking, it gives me a little bit of challenge on. There we go. So our support for our students. So students will come to the school with different levels of readiness, and we see this. So we do assessments as they first come into the classes to find out what are their levels, where do they sit. Some will become proficient, or some may be proficient in English. Others may have to overcome economic, social challenges in order to meet the high standards of the PA Core. At the charter school, the support that we have that'll help these students get through this can come in multiple means. Engaging clear, high quality lessons in the classroom, fostered by the low student to teacher ratio, especially in the lower grades. We see that we have a lot of success with students who are otherwise failing in the public school systems that have larger class sizes. Once they get into the setting with a smaller classroom ratio, it's easier to give that focused attention to be able to help them get through those struggles or those individual aspects that they may be weak in. Differentiated instruction. So the learning needs, the broadest range of students are met within the classroom. So pushing in and out the push and pull special education EL instruction, and as well as counseling and social work services to the students that may have behavioral, social, and or emotional difficulties. And it is indeed a team effort that is necessary for teachers and staff to recognize when a student comes in during the course of a day that it's a good day, it's a bad day. So each of the students need to be known. They need to be understood. Everyone needs to, and this is where that small classroom size comes into play, because it becomes more personalized for each of these students. Involving families. I'm very much in support of parent company. We have a parent company at Valley Forge, which is equivalent to a parents association in most of the schools. They are a critical framework for most schools with regards to teaming with the teachers, the parents, the student classrooms, the students themselves. To have them on the side of the school is crucial for making sure that the school can succeed. We'll strive to make them feel welcome. Teachers, counselors, and other staff members will provide parents with complete and accurate information early in the year, explaining how each of their children are performing, and continue to describe what resources are available to support their student success. It's our philosophy in the smaller classroom that sometimes a student may come in without a recognized 504 or without a recognized IEP. And by getting these smaller classroom sizes, you can start identifying potentials where somebody may be struggling or they've evolved into a struggling fashion, so that you can get the resources present for them through the parents and through the charter school to help them succeed. We look at holding parent-teacher conferences twice annually, enhancing communication through the website with updated homework assignments, parent resources for supporting learning at home, conducting periodic evening or weekend workshops designed to help parents hone the skills that they need for their to be effective teachers for their own children. Technology supports will come in a variety of means. As a result, students will use technology for remediation, differentiation, learning acceleration. So to this end, the model for differentiated learning utilizes multiple technologies, in addition to non-technological strategies, to provide personalized learning, communication supports that enable the students to access the curriculum. Things such as blended learning, student progress monitoring, student data tracking, access supports, communication supports, and as well as assistive technology. So the curriculum and education plan will be, which is derived essentially from PA Department of Ed's requirements, as well as Valley Forge's curriculum that we use. So there's four credit requirements for the English language arts. Will be comprised of a writing program, literature program, a literacy-related skills necessary for success in the 21st century. So this comprehensive literacy program at our high school will consist of a sequential, cumulative program designed to develop the 21st century readers, writers, speakers, and listeners. Courses emphasize literacy measured by the PA core standards. As we seek to foster development of lifelong literacy learners, Charter School is dedicated to a research-based literacy program. So the students would be scheduled for English language arts each year of the academic program and would receive 1 hour of ELA instruction daily. Mathematics. Mathematics are designed to prepare students to become skilled mathematical problem solvers, able to transfer the skills and concepts they learn into tools for finding solutions to multiple problems in any discipline and in any career path. Every teacher has access to a variety of tools and programs, and math teams create grade and course specific programs of study, optimizing learning time by utilizing flipped blended online skill building programs. The 6th through 12th mathematics professional learning community focuses on ensuring the content and the curriculum at every level meets the PA state standards while utilizing a robust data collection to ensure content spiraling and focusing takes place. The science, the goal of the science curriculum is to provide instruction in the PA science and technology, environment and ecology standards, consisting of biological sciences, physical sciences, earth and space sciences, technology, engineering education. In addition to instructions in general science and technology skills, the students are challenged to be curious and develop a deeper understanding of content via project-based and problem-based learning activities. Similar to what we do at Valley Forge Military Academy now, I look to establish associations with partnerships, business partnerships, as well as SPAWAR, the Space Agency Warfare Program out of Philadelphia, in order to provide the students a plethora of opportunities for summer programs or throughout the year to be able to do things such as science fairs and competitions. Social studies and civics. The goal of the social studies program is to develop citizens capable of participating in a culturally diverse, democratic, and global society. So it integrates history, geography, civics, economics, and related social science disciplines. And we embed a focus on active learning strategies, research, and inquiry skills. This includes the reading, the writing, critical thinking. To satisfy the high school graduation requirements, the students have to earn 4 credits in the core courses, which consist of world history, United States history, government and economics, and modern world or US history. So student retention. So students at risk of not meeting the graduation criteria will be immediately identified, and a monitoring and support system will be put into place. The students will be given an individualized plan so that they can make up credits in a timely manner for graduation. Block scheduling allow for more flexibility to provide time for students to make up their credits, and electives may be waived to allow a student to make up lost credits. The students will be assigned instructors and tutors and coaches who will keep an eye on the students and as they go through each of the weekly basis to ensure that the work's being completed, the student is passing the subject material to date. In addition, the counselor will meet with the student regularly to monitor the progress towards their goal and attainment. The students will be offered summer school and online credit recovery programs. At this point, I'm going to hand it back over to Ms. Lauren Wilczuk.
Thank you. Okay, so the next slide talks about the student code of conduct that Valley Forge Military Charter School has developed. If you look to Appendix F in the application, you'll find a full document of that, but it basically is to secure the safety and well-being of the entire school community. We're committed to creating an environment conducive to learning with respect for fellow community members and other students is paramount. Students are expected to conduct themselves in a mature and responsible fashion during school hours and at all school functions. Further, when the student is dressed in the uniform to the greater community and therefore accountable for the code. Valley Forge Military Charter School understands that education is a statutory right and that students must be afforded due process if they are excluded from any school environment. Another key component of the school will be to focus on college and career readiness. Dr. Lee spoke about some partnerships that'll be developed with local corporations, businesses, military units, and trade associations in order to provide early networking for our students, as well as mentorship opportunities, allowing them to learn a lot of different skill sets and be led by others who have experience. A minimum of once per semester, students will have the opportunity to engage with these representatives as part of career exploration. Guidance counselors will also provide interest inventories to be conducted that assist students in making informed decisions about potential future college and career paths. Beginning this at a young age is critical too for their success. We will also use technology. Students and staff will have access to many different platforms, programs, and devices. Technology courses will also be offered, introducing lessons on typing, coding, and computer skills. The students will have the opportunity to build programming through such programs as Lego Robotics. Students will also work on multimedia projects while developing new technology skills that build from year to year. Our younger students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade will get a course of survey of technology that will be offered sort of as a snapshot of the high school electives. Components of some of these courses could include video editing, web design, robotics, engineering, photography, animation, and 3D design that will be included in the middle school survey technology course. These courses are a pathway to prepare the students for the technology courses that they will be offered in their high school years. The courses will require the students to think creatively, problem solve, and build skills that will carry them onto their future. Foreign language requirements will also exist. 2 years of foreign language for all high school students. Many students choose Spanish 1 and 2 in a traditional classroom setting, but there will be a variety of options for student language. Through partnerships with universities and online providers, students can take online Spanish 1, 2, and beyond. American Sign Language, Latin, and French will also be available. Flex time is designed to be built into a student's schedule for 30 minutes per day. This is a time where the student and teacher are able to choose how this period will be used. It could be for remediation, project work, or student study time. There will also be a variety of wellness and extracurricular options. Students and teachers have the opportunity to plan for these blocks on a day-to-day basis. These blocks are really designed to help meet the needs and educational interests of the students. So some of the examples they can choose if they need peer tutoring, counseling, there'll be study skill groups, book clubs, also time for students to use open gym, exercise, prepare for their SATs, and work on wellness activities as part of the health curriculum.
So for the lifelong learning skills, we look at a rotational opportunity for students to prepare them to be successful in today's world. Such include media literacy fundamentals, which can go from media literacy, digital literacy, to visualization, all the way up to certificates in digital media and data literacies. Second semester could be for an intrapersonal skills for success, personal presentation and etiquette. We find that at the Valley Forge Military Academy was very successful as our ability to teach the young men an etiquette class, which does very well. And we've had so the parents involved in that process as well. Communication skills, how to communicate not only verbally, but through electronic media, networking, collaboration skills, conflict resolution, and emotional intelligence skills, moving to personal and professional skills for success. Third would be financial literacy, making sure they understand personal finance with budgeting, decisions and credit, with long-term financial planning, and in the end, provide them a level of financial literacy. Starting off in semester 4, things along basic computer skills for academic success, moving to social media, online presence, programming, internet for using the Internet of Things for success, information, and computer technology skills. So the VFMA current, so the charter school curriculum we modeled after the current VFMA curriculum. The table below provides all of the courses offered at VFMA that'll also be minimally offered at the VFM charter school. We have middle school English. We have the Englishes, the math, science, foreign language, vocational, and study skills. So we provide this for the record of those activities that'll be in the curriculum.
Another key area will be providing students with disabilities. So the Valley Forge Military Charter School will meet the needs of students with disabilities by complying with all applicable federal, state laws and regulations, including those outlined on this slide. Students with disabilities who are enrolled at the charter school will be entitled to a free, appropriate public education, including appropriate related services and all the procedural safeguards to them by the applicable laws and regulations. In meeting the needs of these students, we will comply with section 711.5 under the Pennsylvania Code as outlined below. Our estimated total percentage of special education population is about 21%, and this is anticipated from the average special education populations found in the area charter schools and districts from which we believe we would draw. And you can see the specific breakdown by disability category listed on this slide for record. And some of the extracurricular activities that would offered would be a variety of different programming, including a band, an orchestra, many different sports offerings, and as we spoke about before, some arts, drama, creative activities for the students, reading Olympics, robotics to go back into the STEM programming. Specific programs for middle school too, to make sure we're honing into the needs of the middle school's extracurricular activities. From a middle school student council to work directly with the high school student council.
So within the needs assessment, so why is there a need for this type of school? So what we're finding at Valley Forge Military Academy is a lot of our students that are coming in here, they're coming in because they're missing some very basic essentials. One is that smaller classroom size. The other is that model or that structure that we have, or that has been demonstrated to be successful for our students. So through the VFM Charter Schools military model, we're going to stress the core values of duty, honor, loyalty, courage, promote physical fitness, the pride in appearance and accomplishment, and start to teach those life coping skills necessary to get through tough situations. Combined with our 5 cornerstones: academic excellence, personal motivation, character development, leadership, and physical development, the VFMA Charter School will provide a unique structured environment with small class sizes for students who otherwise appear to fail, when in fact it's because they can't get the individualized attention or structured environment. We hear time after time again from our parents about how well their sons are doing in the military environment at Valley Forge within those small classroom sizes, where within the public schools, they were considered failures. They were the D students, the C students, the F students, because they didn't fit within the box of what was required at that school. This is that situation. This is the type of school that can provide a structure for those students who don't necessarily fit in the norm of that box, that may be the outliers that would benefit from having a lot more structured environment to be successful. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to at first Colonel Helgeson just to discuss our location, and then over to Mr. George Else to start discussing the facilities.
I don't know why my camera's not working. Can you hear me? For some reason my camera's not working.
Yeah, yes, Colonel Helgeson, we were able to hear you.
So for those who aren't familiar with where we're located, we are located at 1001 Eagle Road. We have 100 acres. If you go to the, well, go to 2 slides. We have 100 acres located on this parcel. To our east, we are bordered by Cabrini College. To our south, some residential areas in Eastern College. To our north, St. David's Country Club, and to our west across Radnor Road is residential areas. The highlighted areas on our campus are ones that would be utilized by the Valley Forge Military Charter School. And if you go back 1 slide, Paul, please, just kind of talk about some of our facilities that we already have. Again, been around since 1928, been feeding cadets. We've got libraries, we got auditorium, we've got gymnasiums, we've got our parade field, we've got athletic fields, and we can coexist this school on the campus with the current 2 schools. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Facilities, George L., who will walk through the specific buildings we plan on using for the school.
Okay, I hope you guys can hear me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mine's just mostly pictures. So if you notice the pictures, this is one of our buildings we would use for the academics. It's Hart Hall. We have 2 of these buildings. We call them the sister buildings. They are pretty much identical, but they actually serve multiple purposes. So Hart Hall is this one here. Hart Hall North is 7 classrooms. We have a male and female restroom in that building and 3 office spaces for staff. This just shows some pictures of classrooms and some more office spaces and classrooms. We'll just flip through these quickly. There is a 2nd floor in this building. Currently, there is no handicap accessibility, but that would be rectified if we were granted the charter. Some more spaces up in the upper level. The Hart Hall South, if you look, it seems like the same picture, but we actually, like I said, with our sister buildings. Hart Hall South is 2 classrooms, a conference room. There is a male and female restroom. There's office spaces, and there are 2 state-of-the-art science labs in that building. The classrooms are on the upper level. There are 2 of those. And then we have a chemistry lab and a biology lab. And again, it's just pictures of the those actual buildings. There are some recreational areas within the area of that building. There is plenty of open space. We are on 100 acres, and one thing that we do have is space. As far as transportation, we have for the district residents of the Valley Forge Military Charter School, they would have access to 6 buses, or we would have access to 6 buses for any student that doesn't have transportation from their district outside the 10-mile radius. We have 3 traditional yellow school buses, 2 passenger vans, and we also have a small school bus that is a wrapped bus with our insignia. One of those buses is equipped with to assist with special education students. We do have the capability to shuttle students from Radnor Street, from Radnor to St. David's SEPTA stations and determine points of concentration within the region who are outside their district of the residents' 10-mile transportation radius. They can also be used for class trips, sporting events, and any other extracurricular activities. I'm going to turn it over now to our CFO, Mr. Eric Saul.
Thank you, George. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to bore you too much. I know you have the application. I do want to talk a little bit about our human resources. And I want to talk about it both logistically and non-logistically. As you can see, we have a traditional school. You know, obviously we're going to hire teachers, a head of school, nurse, PIMS administrator, and have the ability to bring in, let's say, a speech counselor, psych counselor, etc. But I also want to talk about the non-logistics parts of human resources. We want to be, will be, the employer of choice in the area. And how do you become the employer of choice? You make employees feel respected, valued, and heard. Okay. All of our teachers will be assigned a mentor. Okay. We will offer continuous training to help meet help support the students and their education. At the end of year 3, we want to be, without question, the premier school in the area. As you can see, and I'll go into this a little bit more when we talk about the budget, our lowest student teacher ratio is 9 to 1. The highest was 14 to 1. And if you can put the slide, please. All staff are provided opportunities to grow, etc. Administration, teacher, leaders, I already discussed that. VFMCS is committed to creating a culture of continuous professional learning. That's important. We're going to offer continuous training, and we want to have the best workforce available for our students. Yes. And now I'll turn it over to.
Thank you, Eric. So where are we going to attract these students from, and more importantly, how are we going to attract these students? First off, we know we're in one of the best school districts in Pennsylvania. We know that. We're proud of that. We love to be associated with Radnor School District. But we feel in that 10-mile radius, there's a lot of other opportunities for young men and women who don't have the opportunity to go to Radnor School District, or even 15 miles from the school. And opening up that window to give them an opportunity to come to Valley Forge Military Charter School is our goal. And to do that, we would have to go out and recruit. Well, we've been recruiting again for 93 years. Each year we go out and recruit students to come to a boarding school. Well, we would use some of the same techniques, advertising, school fairs, setting up tables, talking about advertising and social media, mailings, everything to let the people who geographically want to send their young man or woman to a military charter school, that opportunity, and to advertise it. And with that, with a campaign, we feel we will get those 100 students for year 1. I will now turn it over to back to Eric Saul, our CFO, who will go through our revenue.
Hi, folks. The application, it was submitted with a 5-year budget. I won't go through each year individually, but I think the most important year, without question, is year 1. And the most important thing of any, the most important 2 issues with any budget are the revenue and the expense. So I'll go over year 1 revenue, and then we'll talk about year 1 expense. Obviously, the largest part of our revenue is tuition. Based on what Colonel just said, we have a very good idea of the surrounding school districts and the percentage of students that we could attract from those individual districts. And we are projecting a tuition revenue for
Mr. Saul?
education of about 1.16 based on 79 students.
Hello?
And another 782,000
Colonel,
for 21
how could
special
you
ed students.
assist, please?
Okay. We anticipate 25,000 in state, local, and what I'll call business grants. And that's based on our historical data. And we also have at a minimum one contribution already anticipated for $10,000 to get once the school started. Okay. Then the other part of the budget obviously is the expense. We have the students. How are we going to educate them? Year one, 11 teachers at an annual salary of $60,000. We have 2 professional service folks, mental health, speech, as I mentioned earlier. Our classroom technology will be paramount. We will upgrade with the with servers and the online screens. For support services, as budgeted, as you'll see, administrative facilities is about $837K. So at the end of year one, our expense synopsis is about 2.2. Our revenue was just over 2.2. So we will make a little bit of profit year one, but the profit really kicks in year 2 and on when we increase the number of students. The next few slides you can read through. They're just the individual districts that we would potentially pull from and the amount of money that they would be required to pay for regular ed and special ed. Thanks. And you'll see on the 5-year breakdown in the application which district we chose and the amount of students from each district.
Our Board of Trustees, our president, Dr. Christine Ann Royce, has knowledge of Valley Forge because she's a former employee and spent her early part of her career here at Valley Forge. So she understands the military model. She's seen what's done for young men and women as her former opportunity to work here. You can read her biography and see what she's working on at Shippensburg and doing, but we feel she will be a great president of the board for this charter school. Next slide. David Cummings also has a passion for education, a background wanting to get involved with a military charter school, given the opportunity to young men and women to get this structured military environment and military model education. Next slide. Ms. Bevenauer, our treasurer, has a lot of experience in running and working with charter schools, and she also is a former parent of a cadet here at Valley Forge. So she believes in the product and has seen what it has done firsthand. Next. And Colonel Oliver Norrell, a lawyer by trade, a colonel in the Army, currently running military programs down in Virginia. Not only his 30 years of service to the country, but working with our youth in different military junior ROTC programs, brings loads of experience to our team on what we'd be setting up here at Valley Forge Military Charter School. I'm not going to go through all ours. You can read ours, but the rest are everyone who's briefed you tonight. And I think, Madam President, a little over an hour and 12 minutes, but I think that's our last slide.
Thank you very much, Colonel. I appreciate that. All righty, so at this time, we are going to entertain public comment. I would ask if everyone who's not speaking, if you could just mute your microphones to decrease the echo that we're hearing. I think Mr. Patiti is here and at this time. We will entertain public comment. The board shall provide an opportunity at each hearing session on this charter school application for eligible participants to comment on the application and matters raised during the hearing prior to official action by the board. The board requires that participants be residents of the district, taxpayers of the district, persons with a legal or contractual right to address the board, or persons recognized by the presiding officer as having a special interest such that addressing the board would be appropriate. Eligible participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface their comments by the announcement of their name and address. During virtual meetings, public comment by email must include your name, your address, town, and your topic. And we ask that your individual comments be limited to not more than 4 minutes as per Board Policy 006. If you are unable to attend this meeting tonight and you would like to submit your comment by email, you may write to boardcomments@rtsd.org or in writing to Mr. Michael Petiti, Radnor Township School District, 135 South Wayne Avenue, Wayne, Pennsylvania, 19087. We also have an opportunity for interested individuals to deliver their public comment directly during our live virtual board meeting by registering on our website on the day of the meeting and delivering it via Zoom. There is a link, and we ask that you follow the registration process. We also ask that community members using this still adhere to our board policy 006. All righty, Mr. Petiti, do you have public comment for us this evening?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Stern. We have a few people that have joined us to deliver their comments live that we would like to, I believe just two, I should say, we'd like to start with. So I think Ms. Gangle is going to help me bring them in.
Hi, everybody. So they have not yet joined the meeting. So Mr. Petiti, if you'd like to read the email submissions first, and then maybe we can circle back and see if they join by the time those are wrapped up.
Okay, sounds good. We'll start with Jeffrey Bivanor, 305 Pennsylvania Avenue, Wayne. I'm a parent of 2 children, one of school age that resides and pays taxes within the district. I'm also a graduate of VFMA, and I strongly support the district approving the application of Valley Forge Military Charter School to establish a charter school on the campus of Valley Forge Military Academy. From George Else Jr., 16 Farriston Road. I have a special interest in addressing the school board this evening. I am a parent of school-age children, and I strongly support the district approving the application of Valley Forge Military Charter School to establish a charter school on the campus of Valley Forge Military Academy. Kevin Bradley, 1057 Eagle Road. I have a special interest in addressing the school board this evening. I'm a parent of school-age children, and I strongly support the district approving the application of Valley Forge Military Charter School to establish a charter school on the campus of Valley Forge Military Academy. From Carol Sokowski, 313 Creek Road. I have read in the press about recurrent allegations about physical, sexual, and emotional abuse at the Valley Forge Military Schools, including a Title IX whistleblower complaint made by a former employee of the school and numerous lawsuits filed against the school. The allegations are extremely concerning and range from rape to violent hazing to sexual harassment to physical abuse and more. I've listed 2 links to articles about these allegations below. Can someone speak to whether this history of alleged abuses has been considered in the context of entrusting public school children to a charter school affiliated with VFMA? Thank you. Roberta Winters, 326 Williams Road. This is a statement of the League of Women Voters of Radnor Township to the Radnor Township School District regarding public school hearing for Valley Forge Military Charter School. As president of the League of Women Voters of the Radnor Township, I am grateful for the opportunity to provide input in the hearing on the application of the Valley Forge Military Charter School. For decades, the League has studied and adopted by consensus many positions related to public education. Charter schools have been a topic of debate and discussion throughout the state and nation. Relevant points in our positions are summarized in our comments below. First, we would urge that you consider accountability. This includes measures for program and achievement that hold such a charter school to the same standards applied to district schools. Further, there should be adequate oversight and periodic performance monitoring of the charter school by the school board to ensure that it is complying with all relevant laws and regulations, contract terms and conditions, and ethical standards, including public discourse. Secondly, if a charter contract is developed, it should reflect careful negotiation and drafting. Perhaps a feasibility study and evaluation in light of liability issues may be appropriate. Finally, and not surprisingly, we would promote transparency. Consideration should be conducted through an open process with clearly defined criteria to be used in the authorization of a charter school. There should be, as there is in this evening, opportunity for stakeholder input and oversight in a timely manner. The League of Women Voters of Radnor is most appreciative of your consideration of our positions as you reflect on the future of Valley Forge Military Charter School. By assuring accountability, negotiating in the interest of Radnor residents, and conducting this process openly, we are optimistic that your decisions will be in the public interest. And that is all that's been emailed. I don't know, Ms. Gangle, if other two commenters have appeared.
They have not joined at this time.
Okay, thank you.
So I believe that will conclude our public comment portion of the evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know that it's not terribly late, but we did have a board meeting last evening. Mr. Batchelor, how would you like to proceed at this time? This is our second night in a row out at a public board meeting, which is just trying to be, understand the interests of time this evening.
No, and thank you, for everyone for the presentation tonight. I think it's given us both administratively and as a school board an opportunity to understand the application and to start formulating questions. At this point, it would be my recommendation to you, Mr. Stern, that we would recess the meeting and look to set up another meeting where we could then, ask some additional questions and present those questions to the group.
All right, thank you so much. And I do want to thank everyone who's here tonight. I don't know if you saw, but I think all of us were furiously taking notes and trying to digest. I do have one question. You have the presentation, the slideshow. If you would kindly make that available to our administration, that would be helpful. There were some things that you said that I jotted down notes on a different piece of paper, and I'd like to be able to, formulate my questions. And I'm sure other board members and administrators have that as well. So just
Ms. Stern, I was emailed a copy of the presentation just prior to the start of the hearing, so to be made a part of the record, so that presentation could be made part of the record. So I'll definitely make sure that it gets forwarded to everybody, all the board members and the administration.
I appreciate that, Mr. Christofko. Okay, well, so then at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to recess from Ms. Dunn, and I have a second from Ms. Solomon. Mr. Christofko, remind me, I don't think we take comment on recess, correct?
That's right. No debate.
Great. All right. So with a motion from Ms. Dunn and a second from Ms. Solomon, all those in favor? All righty. So the motion to recess passes 9-0. And Colonel Helgeson, what we'll do is reach out to the board leadership. Will reach out and we'll, come up with a date. We understand we're under a time frame. We're very clear on that. We don't want to delay this, but we do need some time to digest all that you've presented to us tonight. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And the meeting is recessed at this time.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.